Howdy YouTube folks, excuse the noise in the background, and I turned the volume up as usual, but I thought I would make an update video on this because we did drag it from around back, and I'll show you the resting area of it. And we brought it up here. As you can see, one of the tires is kind of flat and the steering needs to be fixed, so it needs a few little things. But I decided to go a different route with this one and build a brand new engine. And I will get into some preface things on this to let you know some other details as we get in the video. But anyways, howdy YouTube folks. And so let's get started. And if you've seen my Instagram, you know that this is going on to a new home. Someone I think that is going to end up with this, that I'm giving it to, is going to really like it. A younger person. And I think it's just time that this leaves. I think it's time that it moves on, because it's a really cool and unique tractor to me and my thoughts, especially from discoveries I have made. Like, I'm pretty sure I did a video, but the transmission on this is excuse the noise, it's neighbors truck. I was just lifting my head to check to see if they're coming here, but anyways, it's a Sears transmission, I believe. Sorry, I was trying to think of what it was. And the reason I believe that, and I'm pretty sure I mentioned this in videos, is because when I was trying to do a paint job on this, and as I got a little overspray, underneath I saw that the transmission had like that grayish silver that the old Sears Suburbans have on them originally. So that's what led me to believe that this has been swapped over from that. Yeah, other discovery I made of recent, and I may dig into it, I may not, to see, is that I couldn't really get it to go into third gear, which happens. So I may or may not look into that as well, and may just let the person know, the people know that's getting it. Mainly it's for one person, but let that be known. And the implement bracket that was on it when it was gotten, obviously I took off, and I still have that somewhere, I believe, with the bolts, and I'm going to throw that in with it as well, and the mower deck, and the original engine, and all the parts I have for it I'm going to bring as well, in case they want to bring it back to stock. But I think for purposes of getting it running to be drivable, I'm going to make a custom bracket, because the rear bolts holes on this engine line up to the pre-existing original bolt holes for the original engine, but the fronts don't, and I think it'll just be easier to make a bracket. Plus, if I make a bolt-on bracket with bushings holding it up, I think it will make it so if I don't modify it at all with any holes, it will be able to go back to stock very easily by unbolting that bracket and putting the stock engine back on. And videos I did not make on this, to preface why I am swapping the engine, as most of you probably already know, but I'm in this, so I will in depth detail you on it, is because I just couldn't figure out the spark on it, but I was able to determine the compression was decent. And of course the original muffler needs some weld repair, I say original when I got it. I think the muffler was modified a little bit, possibly, at one point, or a custom made one for it that was close to the original, but wasn't really. And anyway, so there was that issue as well. And currently the engine just sits, all the pieces in a box that I took off, in the block right down to where the points cover is. And it could be two things: I didn't gap the points properly, which would need to be messed with, or because I put a new set in it, if I remember correctly, or the coil's bad, which is easily obtainable, to where you can either locate a new old stock coil if you can find one, or a replacement electronic ignition coil that can go on there that will eliminate the points altogether. and you don't have to worry about that, which is, to me, slightly better in some ways, but also very, how should I say this, very like hit or miss, because I've heard those can fail pretty easily. So for me, if I was going to do the original engine, it would be back to stock. But for the purposes of getting this done quickly, that's why I chose to do it in a replacement. And I had saved up from where I was working, and I think this will be a very nice gift for someone, and they will end up with it and hopefully enjoy it. I will rig up a throttle cable for it, maybe. But like I said, I'm going to give them all the pieces I have for it. But just get it back together to running, and then if they want to restore it back to original, they can, or they can leave it with this. And either way, they can keep that engine. So that will be their options. Just because I think all the parts should go with it, because of how unique and kind of homemade cobbled together it was, I feel they should get those original pieces. And like I said, if they don't want the original stuff, they can scrap it or do whatever, but at least they will have it. And also another thing I did with this, where the key switch that's out of it right now, I ended up finding a new key for that key switch, and I was able to make that key switch work for a little bit. And I don't know, I forget if the key switch started having issues or not, but I was able to. The other hurdle with this one was the gas tank that somebody had put in this, which may or may have not been the original gas tank, because it was red, and that made me question if it was off of something else. Was pretty rusted out, and to put the original gas tank that came with it when I got it, you would have to do some major welding to it, because it was a metal gas tank. But thankfully this new engine has a gas tank on it, but like I said, all that's going with it. And also the wiring would need to be completely reconfigured for the stockness of this. But for what it is, it is. And I'm going to walk you around back and show you, keeping the camera down so I don't film any areas outside of my property out of respect, and also because I don't really want people to know my location, so you don't necessarily come and find me unless you were to message me privately and were interested in something I had out back, and I would be willing to sell it or part with it for whatever, because I am trying to clean up back here. Then I might. But right there, it was sitting next to that one, and you can see the indents from where it was sitting. And luckily I was able to get it moved with help from neighbors, and we did that. Flat tire was completely off the bead, and we were able to get it back on the bead. I had plans at some point of possibly doing that tractor, but then I debated if I was just going to send it to the scrap. But now I think I'm going, like I said, I'm going to be now finishing it and moving it on to a new home. So hopefully the person in mind is going to really love this, and it will be a very good gift, and it will be out of my clutches. So that pretty much wraps it up for this video, YouTube folks, as we close out with where it was sitting. I hope this video was enjoyable, and I may make some updates before that one leaves on, after it's all done, maybe running, and show you it as it is running. I would show you more in depth of what I'm doing on that one, but there's really not that much to it, in my opinion, to bother, because it's not like I'm restoring it to factory as of now. So yeah, look for more videos on that, and there's probably going to be some more videos on other ones. Before I close this out, I want to show you one that I bought originally for parts, and someone was supposed to come and get it, because as I mentioned before, a friend of mine, and I think I did a video on these, gave me that one, and they haven't, and I'm assuming they decided they didn't want it. So this one may get restored eventually, but that one's definitely first. Worst case scenario, if the original engine was still in that one, because when I got it, it had no oil in it. I don't know if they drained it for me because of that, or what the deal was. needs to be rebuilt, I will swap it for now with this engine maybe. And then if it's rebuildable, and say I have the money and I can take it somewhere and have them diagnose it and it's rebuildable, I'll either swap it back into there or swap it into this one. And I may build this one. This one's not going to be built perfect, but if this one were to get built, I would eventually do the paint restoration, I think, on it as I'm doing to that one. But it would be at a later date, maybe leaving the hood original just because. And then trying to source a replacement blank instrument panel that would fit new old stock maybe for that, if I have the funds, and put it on there and put the 147 instrument panel back on this, I think. And just go through this one and make it basic. And then I would take the mower deck with a hydraulic lift, if I can get it to work, that I was going to use on that eventually, which will be last in my restorations, and actually put it back together on this tractor and make it work on this tractor. So again, that's later. So anyways, YouTube folks, I will, like I said, I will try to update you on more, but that should do it for this video, and I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope that maybe if you desire to, leave a comment if you want to. And as always, if you wouldn't mind subscribing, it's not a forced thing, but I do like subscriptions. And if you were to subscribe, if you wanted to hit the full notification bell, the partial notification bell, or the 0 notification, which is totally fine by me, because I have been kind of a dead channel for a little while because of reasons, which maybe I'll make a video to the best of what I can describe or not. But anyways, as always, sunshine, unicorns, and rainbows, and have an excellent time, whatever it is, wherever you are, and I will see you guys later.